The girl who first walked into Green Hope was not the same girl who now stood there. She had been wearing a mask. Now she was a survivor, fighter, a woman reclaiming her story. As she reached the garden, she found a small envelope placed carefully on the bench beneath the almond tree. Her name was written on it. She opened it, hands shaking. "You're not just my miracle, Clara. You are my reason. I didn't tell you everything because I was ashamed. Not of you, but of how easy my life has been compared to yours. I didn't want my world to taint what we had. But I see now that truth matters more than fear. I love you and I'm here. Always. Jayson." Tears fell freely. Clara folded the note, pressing it to her heart. She wasn't ready to lose him. But he has already left for his parents' mansion. A week later, Clara received a call. Her hands trembled as she answered. "Clara James?" a woman's voice asked. "Yes. This is Mrs. Darlington from the Green Hope International Scholars Program. Congratulations. You've been awarded a full scholarship to study in the United States." Clara's knees buckled. "Are you sure?" she whispered. "You earned it. You've shown exceptional strength and intelligence. We believe in you." As she hung up, her world shifted. It wasn't a dream anymore. She was going to the US. Her past didn't win. The next day, she decided to visit Jayson, following the address in the letter to inform him of the good news. The heavy metal gates of the Miller residence stood tall and imposing before Clara, and for a brief moment, she thought she was in the wrong place because this wasn't the world she belonged to, or so she believed. The perfectly trimmed hedges, the polished driveway, the elegant house looming in the distance. It all felt too perfect, too far from the chaos she had come from. But she had to see him. Her heart beat wildly in her chest as she approached the gate. The guard, recognizing her from Jayson's photos, nodded and opened the gate without question. Her feet felt like they were walking on foreign soil, each step heavy with a mix of anger, confusion, and longing. Jayson stood at the doorway, as if he had been waiting the whole time. Their eyes met. He looked different here. Still him, but surrounded by wealth that now made sense. The designer wristwatch on his wrist, the calm confidence in his stance. It wasn't just from within, it came from knowing the world was already his. Clara felt small again. "You came," he said softly, stepping forward. She nodded, unsure if her voice would even come out. "Can we talk?" she asked. He opened the door wider. "Always." Inside, everything was quiet. The house smelled like fresh flowers and something warm baking. A large painting hung over the fireplace, and soft music played in the background. She didn't belong here. Yet here she was. They sat in the living room, the silence stretching between them like a fragile thread. "I got the scholarship," Clara said, finally breaking the tension. Jayson's eyes lit up, his lips curving into a smile. "Clara, that's amazing. I knew you would. And I will leave in 2 months," she continued, her voice steady, but her heart wasn't. "I'm so proud of you," he said, reaching for her hand. She pulled back gently. "I'm still angry," she admitted, her eyes brimming. "I don't know if I'm angry at you or at myself for believing everything so easily." "You have every right to be," he said. "I should have told you sooner." "Why didn't you?" Jayson sighed, leaning forward. "Because I didn't want to lose you. I thought if you knew who I really was, you would pull away. I wanted you to love me for me, not for what my family has." "I didn't love you for what you had," Clara said, her voice cracking. "I loved you because you made me feel like I was more than my past. Like I deserved more." "You do," he whispered. "You always have." She looked away, the emotions crashing into her. "You were the first person I trusted," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "And when I found out, it felt like I lost something I just got." "I'm sorry," Jayson said again. "But I'm here, Clara. I've always been here. And I'll wait however long it takes for you to forgive me." Silence. Then slowly Clara turned to him, her eyes shining with tears. "I don't want to leave with this between us. I don't want to carry this anger across the ocean." He reached for her hand again, and this time she let him. I'm trying, Jayson. I want to forgive you. I want us. You have me, he said, pulling her close. And for the first time in days, she felt whole again. They had lunch, walked round the compound discussing how the future and distance would be for them. And after everything, Jayson drove her home. The city that once swallowed Clara whole now seemed smaller as she prepared to leave it behind. Lagos had been everything to her. Her nightmare, her battleground, and somehow her home. Now it was time to say goodbye. She made a list. The places she had to visit. The people she had to see. She needed closure before she could fully embrace the future. Her first stop was the place she feared the most. The old street where it all began. The tiny apartment where she had lived with her auntie. The corner where she had slept on her first night alone. It hadn't changed. But she had. She walked slowly, the memories flashing like sharp cuts in her mind. She stood there for a long time, letting the weight of the past sink in one last time. The fear, the shame, the helplessness. It was all real. But it didn't define her anymore. Her next stop was inevitable.
Rose.
Clara found her sitting outside a small shop, smoking lazily, her eyes narrowing when she approached. Well, look who decided to show up, Rose said, blowing out a cloud of smoke. I'm leaving, Clara said simply. Rose raised an eyebrow. Running away, huh? Thought you were better than that. I'm not running, Clara replied. I'm moving on. To where? Another city. Another man's bed. Clara shook her head, sadness filling her chest. To another life. I got a scholarship. I'm going to the US. Rose laughed, but there was no joy in it. And you think they'll want you there? You think they'll love you with your dirty little past? I don't need them to love me, Clara said. I love myself now. And I am grateful to you, Rose. Rose froze. I am grateful to you for taking me in, for showing me how to survive, even if it nearly killed me. I forgive you for not knowing better. But I won't let you pull me back anymore. She turned to leave. Clara, Rose called after her. You'll be back. They all come back. But Clara didn't turn around. She wouldn't be back. Not this time. The sun over Lagos seemed softer now, as if the city itself knew Clara's time here was coming to an end. The streets bustled with their usual chaos, drivers honking, vendors shouting, but none of it weighed her down anymore. She was lighter now, free in ways she had never thought possible. After leaving Rose's house, Clara didn't go straight home. She went to Jayson. He had been waiting. When he saw her step out of the taxi, something in him shifted. Her shoulders were straighter, her eyes clearer, and though he knew the visit must have stirred old wounds, she walked with purpose. You okay? He asked, meeting her halfway. Clara nodded, the faintest smile on her lips. I am now. He pulled her into his arms, holding her tight as if he could protect her from every pain she had ever felt. She let him. Jayson spent the next week at her apartment, refusing to let her face the countdown to departure alone. The space was small, just a single room with a bathroom and a kitchen, but with him there it felt like home. In the mornings they would cook breakfast together, Jayson fumbling through frying eggs, Clara teasing him for burning toast. How do you survive without me? She laughed one morning, watching him scrape burnt bread. I was waiting for you to teach me. He grinned, kissing her forehead. Their days were filled with quiet moments, shared silences, and long conversations about everything that lay ahead. At night, they would lie side by side, hands intertwined, speaking in whispers about the future, about dreams, about fears neither dared voice before. I'm scared, Clara confessed one night, her head resting on his chest. He stroked her hair gently. Of what? That I'll forget this. Forget what it felt like to have you here like this. He kissed her hair. Then let's make memories you'll never forget. The next few days Jayson made sure Clara stepped into her new life fully prepared, not just with documents and plans, but with everything she needed to feel confident and comfortable. One morning he surprised her. We're going shopping. Clara raised an eyebrow. Shopping? For what? For you. For America. You need to look the part, feel the part. I'm fine with what I have. I'm not, he smirked. Let's go. They spent the entire day in boutiques she had only walked past before. Jayson watched her eyes light up as she tried on outfits she never imagined wearing. Sleek jackets, fitted jeans, elegant dresses that hugged her in all the right ways. First she protested. This is too much, she said, stepping out of the changing room in a pale blue dress that made her look like a dream. You're too much, he replied, eyes never leaving her. And you deserve everything good. For hours they laughed, teased, and danced through racks of clothes, until Clara finally relented. Okay, she smiled, arms full of bags. I'll admit this was fun. They ended the day with ice cream on a quiet bench, watching the city as if it was theirs alone. The days that followed were a collection of moments Clara wished she could bottle forever. A sunset picnic by the beach, where Jayson surprised her with her favorite snacks and a blanket laid out just for them. A late-night walk through their favorite park, hand in hand, stealing kisses under the moonlight. A visit to the cinema, sitting in the back row, whispering commentary and laughing softly when no one was listening. But the best moments were the simplest. Lying together in her room, no need for words, just the comfort of being close. You're everything to me, Jayson told her one night. His voice thick with emotion. I wish I could go with you. You will, she said, tracing circles on his chest. You're always with me. The day she was to leave arrived too quickly. Her bags were packed, her documents in order, and yet her heart ached. Jayson insisted on driving her to the airport. The car ride was quiet, each of them lost in thoughts, trying to hold on to every last second. As they pulled up to the airport, Clara felt a lump rise in her throat. This is it, she whispered, turning to face him. He reached for her hand, holding it tightly. Clara, no matter where you go, I'll be here, waiting, supporting and loving you. Tears filled her eyes. I don't want to say goodbye. It's not goodbye, he said, leaning in, his forehead resting against hers. It's see you soon. She kissed him then, slow and deep, pouring everything she couldn't say into that single moment. They stood there, wrapped in each other, time slowing to a crawl. When the final boarding call echoed through the speakers, she pulled back, wiping her tears. I love you, Jayson. I love you more. She turned, walking through the doors, her heart heavy but full. As she looked back one last time, he was still there, watching, his hand raised. And Clara smiled. She wasn't leaving behind her past anymore. She was stepping into her future, with his love carrying her forward. Her journey was just beginning. The moment Clara stepped off the plane, everything felt different. The cold hit her first, a biting chill that wrapped around her body, nothing like the humid heat of Lagos. She pulled her coat tighter, her breath visible in the air. The city was alive, but it wasn't noisy in the way Lagos was. Here everything felt bigger. The buildings loomed tall and proud, streets orderly, people moving with purpose. She had arrived in New York. She stood there for a moment in the bustling airport, clutching the strap of her bag tightly, unsure whether the excitement in her chest was from fear or hope. Probably both. Welcome to the United States, a voice said as she passed through immigration. She nodded politely, her mind racing. Every step she took was further from the girl she once was. A representative from the university waited for her at the terminal exit, holding a small placard with her name written in neat black letters. Clara James. You must be Clara, the woman said with a warm smile. I'm Susan, from the International Students Office. I'm here to take you to campus. Clara nodded, her voice caught in her throat. Thank you. The drive was quiet. She watched the world rush by outside the window. So many lights, so many people, yet she had never felt so alone and so free at the same time. When they arrived at the university, Clara's eyes widened. It was beautiful. The campus stretched over rolling green lawns, historic buildings standing tall with ivy climbing their walls, students walking with books in hand, laughter echoing in the distance. This is your new home, Susan said kindly. At least for the next few years. Clara swallowed hard. It's amazing. Susan led her to her hostel, a comfortable room with 2 beds, a desk, a closet, and a large window overlooking the campus. You'll meet your roommate tomorrow. For now, get some rest. Classes start next week, and you'll need your energy. Clara nodded, grateful yet overwhelmed. As the door closed behind her, she sat on the bed, her heart heavy with emotions she couldn't name. She was here. She had made it. But was she ready? She stood and walked to the window, staring out into the night. This was her fresh start. No one here knew her past. No one knew her secrets. Here she could be whoever she chose to be. The first few weeks were tough. The classes were harder than she expected, the accents sometimes difficult to understand, and the loneliness, constant. Clara missed Jayson, missed the familiarity of Lagos, the chaos she once knew how to navigate. But she didn't give up. She spent late nights in the library, poring over textbooks, jotting down notes until her hands cramped. She asked questions, stayed behind after lectures, and slowly, the professors began to notice her. "You're a fast learner," Professor Williams said one afternoon, smiling. "Where did you say you were from again?" "Nigeria," Clara replied, a hint of pride in her voice. "Well, Nigeria is lucky to have you. Keep this up, and you'll go far." Her heart swelled. She started to make friends too. Anna, a kind girl from Canada who loved painting, and Miguel, a witty boy from Brazil who always made her laugh. But even with these new connections, every night before bed, Clara would spend time with Jayson. Jayson never failed to call or message her, just like he did this night. "How was class today? Did you finally try that coffee I told you about?" he asked. "I tried it and didn't sleep all night," she replied happily. "I told you it was strong. Well, I miss you," he said with so much emotion. "I miss you too," Clara responded. Their bond remained, stretched across oceans but unbreakable. He was still her anchor. 3 months passed, and winter crept in, blanketing the campus in snow. Clara had never seen snow before. She stood outside one morning, gloved hands reaching out to catch the delicate flakes, her laughter ringing out like music. She felt like a child again, innocent, free, alive. Later that day, as she returned to her room, she found a package on her bed. A note attached read, "For when the cold is too much. Jayson." Inside was a soft scarf, deep blue, her favorite color. Tears welled in her eyes. She missed him more than she could admit. 2 weeks later, on a cold Friday evening, as she sat studying in her room, there was a knock at her door. She opened it, and there he was, Jayson, standing there, snowflakes in his hair, eyes shining. "Surprise," he said. She threw herself into his arms, the world spinning. "I can't believe you're here," she cried, burying her face in his chest. "I couldn't stay away any longer," he whispered. "We are on holiday and I had to see you." They spent the weekend together, walking through snowy parks, sharing stories over hot chocolate, holding hands like nothing had changed. After that, they will go back to his hotel room. And in his arms, Clara found something she hadn't felt in a long time. With Jayson's encouragement, Clara began to share her story, not just with him but with others. She joined a student support group for survivors of abuse. The first time she spoke, her voice shook, but her words were clear. "I used to believe I was dirty, that no one would ever love me if they knew. But I'm learning that my past doesn't define me. It's a part of me, but it's not all of me." The room was silent, then filled with quiet nods and soft tears. She wasn't alone. Her courage inspired others. One day, a girl approached her after the meeting. "Thank you," she said. "You made me believe I can heal too." Clara hugged her, realizing that her pain had purpose. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was helping others live. Clara's story grew. She started a blog, The Girl Who Survived. She wrote about her journey, her struggles, her triumphs. Readers from all over the world responded. Messages poured in from girls who had faced similar horrors, from women who had been silenced for too long. Her words were like fire, burning away shame, igniting hope. And through it all, Jayson stood by her side. "You're changing lives," he told her one evening, as they sat by the campus lake during one of his visits. "I just want them to know they're not alone," Clara said. The blog became more than Clara ever imagined. Within months, her inbox was filled daily with stories. Girls from every part of the world sharing their pain, their survival, and their questions. Many didn't know where to begin healing. Others just wanted to know if it ever got better. Clara responded to every message. Each one was personal, raw, and sacred. But the more she gave of herself, the more she realized she needed help to do more. One afternoon, as she sat in her favorite corner of the university library, Jayson called her. After their greetings, she poured out her heart. "I want to do more than just write," she told him. "What are you thinking?" he asked. "A space," she said. "A place for girls like me. Somewhere they can come, feel safe, talk, learn, heal." Jayson smiled. "You want to start a foundation?" "Yes," she said, her heart racing at the thought. "But I don't know how." "You'll learn. Just like you learned everything else." They began the research that night. Non-profit registration, partnerships, grants. Clara reached out to her professors, and one of them, Professor Williams, offered to mentor her. "You have something powerful here," he said. "People will listen to you because you've lived it." The idea became a mission. Hope Beyond Shadows. That was the name she chose. Because every girl deserved to find light beyond her darkness. Words about Clara's work spread fast. The university invited her to speak at a youth empowerment seminar. First she hesitated. Public speaking was different from writing. But Jayson stood by her, helping her practice night after night. "You've lived this story," he told her. "No one else can tell it the way you can." The night of the seminar, Clara stood backstage, her heart pounding. She looked out at the crowd. Hundreds of students, professors, journalists. And then she stepped into the light. Her voice trembled at first, but with each word she grew stronger. "I was 6 when I lost my childhood," she began. "I was a child, abused by someone meant to protect me. Cast out by the only family I had close. Forced to survive in ways no child should ever know." Gasps echoed. "But I stand here today, not as a victim but as a voice. For every girl still trapped, still afraid, still believing she is worth nothing. You are worth everything. And there is life beyond the shadows." When she finished, the room was silent. Then applause. Standing ovation. People rushed to her, praising her courage, asking to support her cause. And for the first time, Clara felt seen, not as the broken girl from Lagos, but as a woman shaping her own destiny. After Clara's powerful speech at the university seminar, her world expanded in ways she hadn't anticipated. She wasn't just a student anymore. She was becoming a voice, a leader, and a symbol of strength. Her days were filled with lectures, study groups, and long nights with textbooks spread out before her. But alongside her academic journey, something else was growing. Hope Beyond Shadows, her foundation. Clara dedicated herself to it, often balancing between her coursework and meeting with counselors, survivors, and donors. She hosted small workshops on campus, built a team of passionate students, and slowly began expanding her reach beyond just online. Her story resonated with many, and it pushed her to be more. Jayson was her constant through it all. Though they were in different countries for now, he never missed a holiday. Every break, every chance he had, he flew back to see her. Their reunions were full of joy and comfort. Picnics in the park, late-night walks under city lights, and long talks about dreams that felt closer every day. But time didn't stand still. Jayson graduated a year before Clara, finishing with top honors. His dream of pursuing a master's in the US became a reality. It meant moving further away, but it also meant being in the same city with Clara. When he informed Clara, her joy knew no bounds. Life in the US was different, but it brought them closer. With Jayson now settled in the city, preparing for his master's, Clara found herself visiting often during weekends. The distance that once felt like a mountain became a bridge they crossed eagerly. He had found a small apartment, cozy, warm, filled with little reminders of her. A photo from Lagos framed on the wall, her favorite books on the shelf, a soft blanket they used to share during movie nights. When Clara arrived for her weekend visits, the city came alive for her. Their time together was precious. They explored New York like tourists, holding hands in Central Park, stealing kisses at the top of the Empire State Building, sharing secrets over coffee in tucked-away cafes. But the best moments were at home, cooking dinner together, dancing barefoot in the kitchen, falling asleep wrapped in each other's arms. "You being here," Clara whispered one night, her head on his chest, "makes everything feel possible." "And it is," Jayson replied. "You're almost done. Then we will be together for good." The final months of Clara's university journey flew by. Her foundation was thriving. She had secured partnerships with local shelters, and her blog had gained global attention. Academically, she was excelling, her professors praising her determination and depth. As graduation approached, Clara felt something bittersweet in her heart. She had come so far, but now it was time to say goodbye to this chapter. Jayson was there for her graduation, a proud smile never leaving his face as she walked across the stage, her name called as one of the most outstanding students. After the ceremony, he took her hand. "I have something planned," he said. She laughed. "Always full of surprises." He led her to a quiet, elegant restaurant overlooking the city skyline. Candles flickered, music played softly, and the world outside faded away. As dessert arrived, Jayson stood. "Clara," he began, his voice steady, eyes shining. "From the moment I saw you, I knew my life was about to change. You've shown me what strength is, what love truly means. I can't imagine a future without you." He knelt. "Will you marry me?" Tears streamed down her face as she nodded. "Yes, yes, Jayson." Cheers erupted from nearby tables, but all she could see was him. Her love. Her forever. Returning to Lagos for the introduction and marriage was both joyous and heavy. Jayson's parents welcomed Clara with open arms. His mother held her tightly, whispering, "Thank you for loving our son." His father, usually reserved, smiled warmly, calling her daughter from the first moment. The introduction was simple but beautiful. Family, laughter, music, and love. But there was one more visit Clara had to make. Her auntie. She hadn't seen her since that day. She walked away with forgiveness on her lips but still a wound in her heart. The road to her auntie's house was all too familiar. As Clara sat quietly in the back of her man's car watching the bustling streets of Lagos pass by, her heart pounded like it wanted to escape her chest. Each street corner held a memory, some faded, some sharp as glass. Every turn felt like a step deeper into the part of her life she had long wanted to forget. Jayson held her close to his chest. The house came into view, a modest, weathered building with a rusted gate and peeling paint. It looked smaller than she remembered, like the years had shrunk it along with the fear it once held over her. She pushed the gate open and walked in. Her auntie was in the yard, bent over, scrubbing clothes in a basin. Her back was hunched, hair thinner, hands rough from years of labor. Clara stood silently, watching the weight of their history pressing down on her. It had been years, yet the woman before her hadn't changed much, except for the visible toll time had taken. Sensing someone behind her, her auntie turned slowly. Her eyes widened in shock. "Clara!" she gasped, dropping the cloth into the water. Clara nodded, her throat tight. "It's me." A long silence stretched between them, filled with all the words they had never said. What are you doing here?" her auntie asked, wiping her hands on her wrapper, unsure whether to be angry, afraid, or ashamed. "I came to see you," Clara said softly. Her auntie's eyes searched hers, looking for judgment, for accusations. But there was none. Only calm. "You've changed," her auntie said, stepping closer but not too close. "So have you," Clara replied. They stood there, two women bound by a painful past. Clara took a deep breath. "I didn't come here to fight. I didn't come for answers. I just came to let you know that I forgive you." Her auntie's face twisted, the words striking her like a slap. "Forgive me? For what?" For everything, Clara said, her voice trembling but sure. For not believing me when I needed you. For sending me away. For leaving me alone when I was just a child. Tears filled her auntie's eyes, though she tried to blink them away. You think I wanted that life for you, she whispered, her voice cracking. You think I wasn't hurting too? But you didn't protect me, Clara said, not with anger, but with a deep sadness. You let him take from me, and then you blamed me for it. Her auntie turned away, covering her face with her hands. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. He was my husband. I was a child. Clara cried, the words ripping from her chest. I didn't seduce him. I didn't want any of it. Silence again, but this time it was different. Her auntie's shoulders shook, the years of guilt, fear, and regret pouring out in muffled sobs. I'm sorry, she whispered. I've lived with it every day. I never forgave myself. Clara stepped closer, her heart aching. I don't need your apology. I just needed to let it go. Her auntie turned, eyes swollen. How did you survive? Clara looked up at the sky for a moment, then back at her. By not giving up. By finding people who saw me. By learning to love myself, even when it was hard. Her auntie nodded slowly. Please come inside and sit. I want to tell you something, she said, her hands trembling. Clara gestured to Jayson to step down from the car as they walked in. They sat together, Jayson beside her. Silence stretching between them until her auntie spoke. That day. The day I sent you out, I got a call. Your parents. They were gone. Car accident. I didn't know how to tell you. Clara's world tilted. I blamed you for everything, her auntie continued, tears falling. I was broken. And I took it out on you. Clara wept, her body shaking as Jayson held her. All these years, she had carried the weight of abandonment, never knowing the full truth. But now she saw it clearly. Her auntie wasn't just her pain. She was her only family. I forgive you, Clara whispered, her heart heavy, but her spirit free. She introduced Jayson to her as her fiancé. And with that, the marriage preparations started. Their wedding was a grand celebration. A celebration of life, love, and survival. Clara walked down the aisle in a flowing white gown, her smile radiant, her past behind her. Jayson waited, tears in his eyes, as she joined him at the altar. They spoke their vows, words trembling with truth. I give you my heart, my soul, my everything, Clara said. And I promise to cherish you, protect you, love you, always, Jayson replied. They kissed, and the room erupted in joy. After the wedding, they returned to the U.S., hand in hand, ready for a life they had built from the ashes of their past. Their honeymoon was spent in a quiet beach house. Days filled with laughter, nights with passion and tenderness. They worked side by side. Jayson pursuing his career, Clara expanding hope beyond shadows, reaching more lives every day. Their love only deepened, growing stronger with every sunrise. On their one-year anniversary, the day started with laughter, and ended up with a candlelit dinner on the balcony of their home, city lights twinkling like stars below them. They talked about everything and nothing, sharing memories, dreams, inside jokes only they understood. You know, Jayson had said, leaning closer, his eyes dark with affection, I still can't believe you chose me. Clara laughed, setting down her wine glass. I should be the one saying this. You chased me. I didn't have much choice. He smirked, pulling her into his lap. I will chase you all over again. Every single time. With that they kissed. Their lips met, soft at first, then deeper, more urgent. It wasn't just passion, it was connection, raw and pure. He carried her inside, their bodies entwined in a dance they had come to know so well. Each kiss, each touch, spoke of trust, of a love that had healed wounds too deep for words. Her dress fell away, his hands exploring every inch of her, worshipping her with a reverence that made her breathless. They made love slowly, with a tenderness that melted every piece of the past. There was no shame in her anymore. Only desire, only love. As their bodies moved together, as whispers filled the room, Clara felt it fully, freedom. Not just from her past, but from every doubt, every fear that had once chained her heart. She was his, he was hers, and nothing else mattered. The next morning, Clara woke up to the soft morning light streaming through the sheer curtains, casting a golden glow across the room. Clara stirred beneath the warm sheets, her body tangled with his, her heart full in a way it had never been before. She opened her eyes slowly, taking in the stillness, the safety. Jayson lay beside her, his face relaxed in sleep, one arm draped protectively across her waist, holding her like she was the most precious thing in the world. His breath was steady, warm against her neck, and for a moment, Clara simply watched him, her heart swelling with a love that had been forged through pain, trust, and time. There were no secrets here, no walls between them. This was freedom, the kind she never thought she'd have. A soft smile curved her lips as she brushed a stray lock of hair from his forehead, her fingers tracing the familiar lines of his face. Every touch was a reminder of their journey, of the battles they had fought, and the unbreakable bond they had built. She shifted slightly, placing a soft kiss on Jayson's shoulder. He stirred, his eyes fluttering open, a sleepy smile spreading across his face. "Morning, beautiful," he murmured, tightening his hold on her. "Morning," she whispered back, snuggling closer. He kissed the top of her head, his fingers trailing lazily down her arm. "You didn't sleep much." "I didn't want to," she smiled. "Didn't want to miss a second." They lay there in silence for a while, wrapped in each other, the world outside forgotten. Then, with a playful grin, Jayson rolled out of bed. "Where are you going?" Clara asked, stretching. "Stay there," he said, pulling on a t-shirt. "I've got something for you." Clara laughed, shaking her head. "You spoil me a lot. And I'm not stopping," he said as he walked away. Minutes later, he returned with a tray of pancakes, fresh fruit, scrambled eggs, and 2 mugs of steaming coffee. "Breakfast in bed for my queen," he announced, setting it down carefully. Her eyes lit up, touched by the gesture. "You're too good to me." "Not possible," he replied, feeding her a piece of apple. "I just love seeing you happy." They ate together, feeding each other, laughing, stealing kisses between bites. "You know," Clara said, wiping her lips with a napkin, "I was thinking about everything we've been through." Jayson leaned back, watching her. "Yeah, I'm free now. Really free. I'm not hiding, not pretending. I wake up next to you and I know who I am. That's something I never thought I'd have." "You've earned it," he said. "You've fought for this. And I'll spend the rest of my life making sure you never forget how incredible you are." Tears glistened in her eyes, but they didn't fall. "Thank you, Jayson. For loving me. For staying. For being my home." He leaned in, cupping her face, his eyes locked on hers. "There's nowhere else I'd rather be." Their lips met again, slow and sweet, deepening with each second. Clara pulled him closer, the tray pushed aside as they melted into each other once more. The morning slipped away, replaced by the heat of their love, the promise of forever in every touch, every sigh, every kiss. I don't want the story to end, but this is the end. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe for more and drop sweet comments.